Greetings, salutations, film fans. Welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. As always, I am your host. My name is John Cambia, Senior Editor of AMC Movie News, joined by Amy Rose Eisenbach, Associate Editor of AMC Movie News.
Hey, guys.
And this morning, at about 5:30 in the morning, LA time, the announcements were made for the 2013 Academy Awards. Not a ton of surprises, but as you're going to hear us mention, a couple of very, very significant ones. We're going to run down for you right now several of the major categories and give you our thoughts and predictions on them really quickly. So let's start with Best Picture. The 9 nominees for Best Picture. You know, before I get into the 9 nominees, let me mention this. Here's how they came up with 9 nominees. The new rules of the Academy are this. There could be anywhere between 5 and 10 nominees any given year. They do roughly, when you really break it down, it goes very, very paraphrased. It's kind of like this. They do a first round of balloting. Films that get at least 5% of the first place votes can then move on and be eligible for nominees. So every one of these nominations got a minimum in the first round of 5% of the first place votes. And they came up with 9 films, so thus we have 9 nominees. The nominees are Beasts of the Southern Wild, Argo, Django Unchained, Life of Pi, Les Miserables, Lincoln, Silver Linings Playbook, and Zero Dark 30. Amy Rose, any big surprise on here, like major surprises that are here or aren't there? What do you think will win? What do you think should win?
For Best Picture, not really too many surprises. The other categories we'll get to are more surprising. I think that, Beasts of the Southern Wild and Argo, I would really like to see win. I think those films were really unique and brought a lot to the table, especially Beasts of the Southern Wild. It was really refreshing and special. I think Lincoln will win. Because Steven Spielberg looks like the top runner. It got the most nominations this year total as well. So I think Lincoln probably will win. Or Zero Dark 30.
I'm with you. No big surprises to me on this list. I'm a little bit surprised. A lot of people thought there would be 10 nominees this year. I actually thought there would be maybe 6 or 7. Mm-hmm. So 9 is kind of right there in the middle. No big surprises. I think Les Mis should win. Mm-hmm. I'm still enraptured with that movie. I cannot believe how much it just completely captivated me. Up until this morning, I would have said Zero Dark 30 was going to win. But now I have to agree with you. As the results have come out, and we'll get to this in a little bit, as we've seen the nominations list, now I can't predict that Zero Dark 30 will win. I'm going to have to go with you and predict that Lincoln, which was my number 8 film of the year. That Lincoln will win Best Picture. And let's get on to why I no longer think Zero Dark 30 will win, even though I thought it was a lock.
Yeah.
Maybe not lock's too strong of a word. I would have bet serious rent money on Zero Dark 30 having won Best Picture until we also looked at, let's go to the nominations for Best Director. The nominees for Best Director are Ang Lee for Life of Pi, Steven Spielberg for Lincoln, David O. Russell for The Silver Linings Playbook, Michael Haneke for Amour, Ben Zelton for Beasts of the Southern Wild. Let's do this. Who will win? Who should win? And then we'll get to surprises in a second.
So many surprises. This one was crazy. Out of these 5, I think... Again, Steven Spielberg is going to win. He is very loved by the Academy. He's so accomplished. Lincoln was a fine film. I really loved it. Yeah. But I think that who should win would either be Beasts of the Southern Wild, Zetlin, is that right? Or Ang Lee. I thought both of those were stunning, visually stunning. The whole story, I was completely enthralled the entire time. I hope those two would, but I think Spielberg's going to win.
All right. For me, out of this list, once again, I'm going to agree. Now, I think Steven Spielberg's going to win. Mm-hmm. I did not think that earlier today, but the person who I thought was going to win isn't even on this list.
Outrageous.
Catherine Bigelow. Now, I mentioned that I was going to pick Zero Dark 30 as my pick to win Best Picture. Even though my personal preference would be Les Mis, I thought Zero Dark 30 was going to win Best Picture. Mm-hmm. But as we looked up this morning, not since 1989 for Driving Miss Daisy has a film won Best Picture where the director wasn't even nominated for Best Director. So let me phrase that again. Not since Driving Miss Daisy in 1989 has a film won Best Picture where the director wasn't even nominated. So as of right now, you can just rule Zero Dark 30 out. Like, Zero Dark 30 is not going to win Best Picture if the director of the film isn't even nominated.
I mean, it's happened once. It's rare, as we learned, but it's possible. Not likely, but possible.
This is the confusion for me and why I'm outraged. Now, let me qualify that by saying this. I believe in the Academy, and I believe in the Oscars, and I believe in their voting system. Look, the best director is voted on by directors, by DGA members. Actors are voted on by actors. People who know more about directing voted on this. People who know a lot more about directing voted on this than I do voted on this. So I yield to their expertise. So when I say I'm outraged, it's my personal taste and my personal preferences are outraged.
But there's always politics as well. There's always politics in everything. And
sure, to some degree. But the beautiful thing, I was talking to one of our AMC folks about this morning. The beautiful thing about the Academy as opposed to the Golden Globes, which I rag on all the time. The Golden Globes is a 70 to 90 member voting base, which means you can bribe a voting base with one phone call or influence a voting base with one conference call. Granted, that would be a pretty big-ass conference call. The Academy is like 7,000 members.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be able to influence and swing. As it insulates the Academy. Not that it's not still exposed to it, like you're saying. But more than any other award show, it's insulated from that stuff. And I won't go on too long here on the director thing because I want to get on the other topics. But 4 directors that I thought would be on this list are not here.
It's just crazy.
Quentin Tarantino is not nominated for Django Unchained. Now, I can understand him not being there, but I would have had him on there. Tom Hooper for Les Miserables is not on this list. Won the award last year, I believe. Now, I can understand him not being there, but I would have had him there.
He took risk. It was such a beautiful production. Like, I don't understand.
But the 2 names that I do not understand not being here, one is Catherine Bigelow for Zero Dark 30. 2 is Ben Affleck for Argo. Now, I told Ben Affleck, and you can go and watch my video with me and Ben Affleck talking. I told Ben Affleck after I saw this movie, I said to him, Ben, if you do not get nominated for Best Director this year, I'm going to slash somebody's tires. Academy.
Is it happening?
It's going to happen. So Academy members, check your cars before you back out of the driveway. I'm slashing some tires. This, to me, once again, my own personal taste and preferences, this is ridiculous. This was a brilliantly directed film.
Brilliant. He's an amazing director, and I feel like, all the 4 that you mentioned deserved it, but Affleck, I feel like, is the universal snub. Like, people all are just completely surprised by that. It was the art direction, everything, the pace, like, he just killed it. He's really proven that he's a great director, so I'm really pissed about that, too.
Once again, I don't want to, maybe tomorrow's episode, I'm really going to rail on this, but I'm just going to say I am outraged that Ben Affleck wasn't nominated. I am shocked that Catherine Bigelow wasn't nominated. That pretty much disqualifies Zero Dark 30 from winning Best Picture, which I thought for sure was going to win. So anyway, let's move on from that. Let's get into the big acting categories. Nominated for Best Actress this year are Jessica Chastain for Zero Dark 30, Naomi Watts for The Impossible, Jennifer Lawrence for Silver Linings Playbook. You and I were talking about this. I've never been quite sure how to pronounce Huevenezes. This is one of those names where I've read 20 times in the last couple of months, but I've never actually heard said.
Q Wallace.
So, Q Wallace, thank you. So please forgive me for really butchering the name. For Beasts of the Southern Wild, and Emmanuelle Riva for Amour. Once again, I'll start on this one. No surprises for me at all on this list. None. These are the 5 that I expected to be on this list. The 5 are here. Up until this morning, I thought Jessica Chastain was the lock. Now, I said earlier, lock is a strong word. Not for this category. For 2 categories, actually. I thought Jessica Chastain was a lock for Best Actress. But now, with Catherine Bigelow's snub for the director thing, the ball game has changed. I now have no idea. There is a lot of groundswell for Riva for Amour. I'm not going to be surprised if she wins. I think Jessica Chastain should win. Jessica Chastain will win. I still think she should win. I'm not so sure now if she will.
I think it's a very interesting quality. Also, no surprises here. what I do find very interesting is that Q Wallace is the youngest actress ever nominated. She is 9 years old now. She shot this film when she was 6. Now, anyone who's seen Beasts of Southern Wild, you can't take your eyes off her. She's magnetic. She's magical. She's really a special actress that I'm really excited to watch grow. But she has a long way to go as well. So, you know, you want to give it to Miss Riva, who's 85 years old, who's the oldest actress ever nominated for an award. I also think Jessica Chastain was phenomenal. She's had quite a year, just really going on everyone's radar. I'd like to see her win. But everyone in this category was very strong, and I'm not going to be very upset however it goes.
No, one knock I've heard against Q Wallace from some people is that, and from the acting community, is that this might hurt her, is the fact that because she was so young when they shot, a lot of them are asking, well, how much is that just her as a natural kid? How much of that was actually acting? Fair question. I think you look at the performance and not worry about that stuff, but I think some people are worrying about that. Let's look at Best Actor. Nominated for Best Actor. Again, no surprises whatsoever. Daniel Day-Lewis for Lincoln. Denzel Washington for Flight. Joaquin Phoenix for The Master. Hugh Jackman for Les Miserables. And Bradley Cooper for Silver Linings Playbook. Once again, to me, no surprises on this list.
No.
My should wins is Hugh Jackman. I think Hugh Jackman should win for this. He absolutely, I used when talking to the studio, I used an expletive instead of made love to. But I said, Hugh Jackman made love to my soul with that performance.
I like that.
And I think he should win. That being said, Daniel Day-Lewis is going to win this, I believe. There's a huge momentum thing for Lincoln right now. Once again, it all comes back to Catherine Bigelow not being nominated for Best Director has completely changed the landscape of all of this for me. But I'm still going to stick with it. I still think Daniel Day-Lewis will win. I think Hugh Jackman should win. What about you?
Daniel Day-Lewis is as good as it gets. If he takes on a role, give him the Oscar. Like, he is just, he is Lincoln. There was no shred of Daniel Day-Lewis. Every single role he ever picks is so calculated. He's such a method actor. It baffles me how good he is. So I would give it to him. But with that said, you know, Hugh Jackman was fantastic. The emotion he brought to Les Mis and the talent. I mean, he is incredible, and I would really like to see him win as well. But Daniel Day-Lewis, I mean, when he's on the screen, it's him.
Anybody in that list you think could surprise us?
You know, not really. I mean, Denzel, people really like him, and I know Flight was very mixed with, you know, the actor versus the film. Bradley Cooper, I thought he did a fine job with Silver Linings, but I would still really like him to continue that path of taking on more serious roles. I don't think this was an Oscar-worthy performance, but I think he did a really good job. But compared to the other two, and Joaquin, I mean, he was fantastic in The Master. He was almost like painful to watch. So right. I do think these five, you know, were really, really strong performers, and they all deserve recognition.
All right, let's move on to the category of Best Supporting Actor. Actually, there is one huge surprise on this list for me. I'll get to that in a second. Nominated for Best Supporting Actor are Tommy Lee Jones for Lincoln, Philip Seymour Hoffman for The Master, Christoph Waltz for Django Unchained, Alan Arkin for Argo, and Robert De Niro for Silver Linings Playbook. Amy Rose, surprises, who will win, who should win?
I thought this was another very strong category. All five of these actors were great. I have a soft spot for Christoph Waltz. I think when he's on the screen, you can't take your eyes off him. I know he did win, you know, for Inglourious Basterds, but you know, he was arguably the most on-screen supporting actor as well. He was a co-lead, so I thought he was fantastic. It was also really nice to see De Niro return to acting.
Yeah.
He was good in that. Philip Seymour Hoffman, always good. Tommy Lee Jones, Alan Arkin. I thought they were great. I'd like to see Christoph Waltz take it again. But maybe it's time for Philip Seymour Hoffman or Robert De Niro.
All right. I think the person who will win, oddly enough, is I think Robert De Niro is going to win. Mm-hmm. I think there's a big love swell for Silver Linings Playbook.
Yeah, there is.
And I don't think Cooper or Jennifer Lawrence are going to be seriously in any kind of serious contention for it. So I think they may swing that to Robert De Niro. And I got no problems with it. To me, I'm shocked that Christoph Waltz is on this list. I said when I reviewed Django Unchained that, look, everybody's talking about how this is, you know, Jamie Foxx's and Leonardo DiCaprio. I said, forget that. Christoph Waltz and Samuel L. Jackson
amazing.
make this movie. And I was over the moon for Christoph Waltz in this movie. I thought he made this movie. I would give it to Christoph Waltz.
Me too.
Personally, and I know he just won it for Inglourious Basterds.
He deserves
also
it
with
again.
Quentin Tarantino, but he deserves it again. But I think the person who will win is Robert De Niro.
Or Tommy Lee Jones. I mean, he is an Academy favorite.
He is.
He was good in Lincoln. His wig was awful, but he was good.
But his wig being awful was part of him being so
I know,
good.
but it was awful.
He was really good. But, I mean, any one of these people could win it, and I wouldn't really have a problem. But I think the person who should is Christoph Waltz. The person who will is Robert De Niro. And we move into the last one we're going to go into any depth on is Best Supporting Actress. Again, no surprises whatsoever here. Anne Hathaway for Les Miserables, Sally Field for Lincoln, Jackie Weaver for Silver Linings Playbook, Helen Hunt for The Sessions, Amy Adams for The Master.
Just give it to Anne Hathaway.
This, if any term lock works, for me, the shoulds and the will wins are Anne Hathaway for Les Miserables.
No question.
I just can't see, even though my world has been shattered with the Bigelow not being nominated for Zero Dark 30 and turning all the tide, I think, Lincoln's way. I think this is Anne Hathaway's from the moment she started singing I Dreamed a Dream. This was her award. She's going to win this. I'm going to be shocked.
I will be upset if she does not win. And I mean, Sally Field was phenomenal. All these women, again, really strong year of film and performances. But Anne Hathaway, I mean, give it to her.
Yeah. Let's just for a moment, let's just look at a couple of these things. Best animated film. Frankenweenie, The Pirates Band of Misfits, Wreck-It Ralph, Paranorman, and Brave. First time ever, people who've been following me for any time know that I do worship at the altar of Pixar. Mm-hmm. Brave should not, in any sense, have the word Oscar nominee put beside it. I think this was I think this was the worst of the Pixar films. And it wasn't a terrible movie. But in no way does it deserve to be nominated for an award. To me, this is Wreck-It Ralph's award.
It's not even a question.
But I don't think it will win.
Oh, I hope it does.
I think they're going to give it to Frankenweenie. I hope they don't. I don't think it deserves it. I think Wreck-It Ralph does.
Yeah.
But because there are more mature tones to Frankenweenie and Paranorman.
Yeah. Frankenweenie was great, though, and Tim Burton's back, you know?
Yeah, I wasn't thrilled with Frankenweenie, although I liked it more than most Tim Burton movies, who I'm not a big fan of. But I just think Wreck-It Ralph overall was the best
everything about it. It was great.
I'd like to see it I'd like to see it win. Best visual effects, Life of Pi, The Hobbit, The Avengers, Prometheus, and Snow White and the Huntsman. I think this is going to be Prometheus award to win.
We loved it visually.
Loved or hated that movie. And I am not thrilled with Prometheus at all.
Me either.
The visual effects were perfect.
Yes.
Perfect for what they were.
Plot is questionable, but visual, I think everyone can agree that it was beautiful.
And I'm going to mention this one more time. The Oscars need to cut out the category of best song.
I disagree.
It is the most ridiculous category. Look, let me make my argument for this before we list off the nominees. Somebody said to me the other day, well, John, if you're going to take out best song, you might as well take out best score. No. In 80% of movies, the score plays for 70 to 80% of the movie. It's always present. It's always there. It is interwoven with the film and is a part of the film. Best song? 70% of the time, the songs that are nominated for Best Song are just the track that plays during the credits rolling. I'm not kidding. Literally. Like Annie Lennox's song for Return of the King, Lord of the Rings Return of the King, a song that still makes me cry when I hear it. It had nothing to do with the movie. It was the song that played over the end credits.
It represents it, though, John.
Or songs that play. It has nothing to do with the movie, and in total, it is on screen and playing during a movie for less than 1% of the runtime. So, to quote the comedian who was hosting the Oscars, I believe it was Jon Stewart, I could be wrong. One year, hey, guess what? You know who an Oscar winner is? 3 6 Mafia are Oscar winners. And remember, when they won their Oscar for the song they played for, the song wasn't Pimpin' Ain't Easy. It was...
I wish it was.
I can't remember the name of the song now, but it was something like that. But I remember the comedian came out and says, for those of you at home keeping score, 3 6 Mafia, 1 Oscar, Martin Scorsese, 0.
I mean, yes, that's ridiculous to your point, but...
sorry, these things, they play for less than 1% of the movie, but they get an Oscar category.
Sometimes they deserve it.
And they get... No, they do not.
Sometimes they do.
And they get more screen time. Best Song traditionally has gotten more screen time at the Oscars because they play all the songs than the screen time they dedicate to Best Director. You know, the person actually responsible for the movie. They get more screen time than that person. It's ridiculous. I understand people like hearing the songs at the Oscar.
I don't always like hearing the songs at the Oscar.
And who's going to deny that one of the best Oscar moments we've ever seen was that moment for, I can't remember the name of the song, or the name of the film. I'm ashamed I'm forgetting the name of the film. But it's that Falling Slowly, when that couple came out and sang the duets.
Once.
Thank you, yes. That was one of the most beautiful moments I've ever seen at the Oscars. But
the music was the film, and there's always an exception to the rule. I get what you're saying. A lot of times they just throw it in there, but a lot of the times it represents, the tone and the feeling and the vibe of the film.
But it doesn't actually contribute to it. And you said
sometimes it does.
There's exceptions to the rule?
Yes.
When you have to say it's an exception to the rule,
sometimes
then
there are.
that
For
means
example,
it
Skyfall.
Should be its own
Did you like
category.
Skyfall?
Of course I like Skyfall.
Okay, so the opening credits of all Bond films is an iconic part of the film. That was a part of the film, the song, right? Can we agree there?
It was played over the opening credits.
Yes, but that's an iconic part of Bond films. So that's a part of the film.
A representation doesn't become an Oscar category.
I think it's important. Music is important.
It's not part of the movie-making process. But anyway, that's just me. We've gone too long on this. I'm not even going to mention the Best Song nominees because they don't matter.
They matter. I'll tell you later.
Anyway, listen, before you do anything else, folks, stop what you're doing. Click the subscribe button. Become one of our subscribers on our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It'll keep you up to date on everything going on in the world of movie news, our editorials, and of course our daily AMC movie talk show. It's completely free. Don't worry that when I say subscribe, people think that means pay something. Just click the button and you're subscribed and it'll be there all the time. It would be really great. Hey, listen, while you're at it, become one of our followers on Twitter at twitter.com/AMC Theaters. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/AMC Theaters. And listen, don't forget to check us back here every day for AMC Movie Talk Monday through Friday. We've missed the last couple of days because we were in Las Vegas at the new Media Expo.
Woo!
I'll update you on that another time. I want to thank Amy Rose Eisenbach.
Thanks, guys.
I want to thank for the Academy for starting the process of eliminating Best Song out of the Oscars.
No. Music for life.
I want to thank Ben Affleck for doing a great job directing.
Amazing film.
That will now never be remembered because the Academy was stupid. Thank you again. And until next time, my name's John Campia. Bye-bye.